You are now listening to Can't Feel the Heat, the unofficial podcast about the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. Our mission is to explore the complexities of Coachella, covering the news, music, artists, technology, and business of the festival. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on all of your favorite platforms. Follow us on Instagram at Can't Feel the Heat and check out our website at www.can'tfeeltheheat.com. Can't Feel the Heat is hosted by Tom Nash and Vanessa Franko.
Welcome back to Can't Feel the Heat. Our guest today is Brian Wentzel. Brian is a longtime Can't Feel the Heat listener and healthcare executive. He has been attending the festival since 2012, and this year's Coachella will be his 9th time attending Coachella. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, thanks, Tom and Vanessa, for having me. Super stoked to be here, and super stoked that we're a few weeks away from Coachella. It's very exciting.
Yeah, 6 weeks away. I'm Tom Nash. The co-host is Vanessa Franko. What's up, Vanessa?
Hi. I'm not having a freak out that, Coachella's right around the corner at all. Nope. I'm all fine. Everything's fine.
It's all good.
Everything's great.
It's a good problem to have that Coachella's coming up quick. So what's the latest news update, Vanessa? What's been going on since we last podcasted?
Well, this is how quick Coachella's coming up. Golden Voice released its Golden Voice Presents April. So here's the deal. If you didn't get tickets to Coachella, and you're still listening to us and you want to go see these wonderful bands we talk about, guess what? You can. A lot of them play all over Southern California and some in the Bay Area and elsewhere too throughout the month of April. You can see it on Golden Voice's website. A lot of those tickets are on sale. Beyond that, they are bringing back the Coachella Day Club. That's the big daytime pool party where you'll see some of the big stars of Coachella hanging out at the Hyatt Palm Springs and doing a poolside set. I know Madion's on it this year, Duck Sauce. So those events have been announced, which means the party circuit is right around the corner. I expect to start seeing that stuff any day now. But we've also had some news with the biggest headliner, arguably, of the weekend. We've got more Kanye news. Kanye just keeps being Kanye. He has a new video, which, isn't going so well. He's done poetry and he released an album. He's been very busy, but you need to buy his $200, I don't know if it's an old Microsoft Zune or what in order to hear the record.
Yeah, the stem player. Brian, do you got it?
I didn't get it. I talked about getting it, but I just don't see the utility right now when there's only a few bits of material. But the concept seems kind of cool to be able to kind of manipulate tracks based on what you want to do, from the bass line to the verbal components. You can kind of manipulate that, which seems like a really cool concept, but it seems kind of limiting the way that the design is, because you only really have 4 options to do manipulation against.
Okay.
Can I just buy an app for that? Why do I need, I already have an expensive phone, Kanye. Why can't I just give you my money to listen to Donda 2? Help me.
Yeah, he's gotten, at least from his Instagram, he said that they've made pretty significant revenue on it. Now, that's revenue, not net margin or profit. So not quite sure what the bottom line's actually looking like on these stem players, but he thinks it's kind of a good idea. We'll see how that pans out.
I know other than the stem player, he had a concert recently, and then he also had a documentary coming out. Were you able to catch either of those, Brian?
I caught a little bit of the concert. It was kind of his standard Danya issued production, main stage, and he had a few guests come out. One of the big guests that he had featured was Jack Harlow, so he'll be kind of prominently featured on Danya 2 on some of the tracks. Outside of that, the documentary, did get a chance to see that. It was quite interesting. I would recommend it if you are a big Kanye fan. Even if you're not, it's kind of fascinating to just kind of watch his evolution over the 20 years. And his filmmaker that he worked with, his friend from Chicago, Cootie, was actually just tons and tons and tons of archive data that they were able to bring forward. There's a really kind of cool scene where he walks into Rockefeller before he was signed with Rockefeller, just kind of chatting up the employees there, trying to play his music for the Rockefeller team. No one was really kind of giving him the time of day. So, he's more from this kind of underdog personality during the documentary in the first episode into kind of what we know Kanye has been from the last 10 plus years, ever since he started really kind of dominating the cultural landscape.
Didn't everything kind of change when his mom died?
Yeah, it did.
Did they talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the pivotal points within the documentary. So when his mom passed, she was really kind of acting as his grounding element of his life, kind of that central element of his life, helping him manage his affairs from music production to appearances to kind of all those central elements that you need as a megastar like that. So I think he was really attached to his mom, really close to his mom, and it really comes off as a genuine, authentic component of his life when you see some of the older footage of him. So it definitely impacted him pretty significantly, and that's within the documentary. You can kind of see that morph and that change of how he's presented himself to the public post his mother passing.
So if you're a regular listener to the podcast, we're going to do things a little bit different today. We are going to dive deeper into the Coachella lineup. And Tom and I are going to share our favorite, most anticipated acts. And so is Brian. So stick with us. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. Tom, why don't you kick it off? Who is your number 5 of the absolute must-see artists at Coachella 2022?
Thanks, Vanessa. It was a lot of fun putting this list together. So coming in at number 5 is pure nostalgia for me. It's Swedish House Mafia. This is not an artist that I've been following at all recently, but I have been able to check out their new music since it was announced that they're on the lineup, and I'm enjoying it. Their peak just aligns perfectly with kind of my lifestyle in my early 20s, where all these jams just bring back so many memories of like a very carefree time for me, which is fun to think about, like progressive house music being something that's nostalgic. I remember them in 2012 and not being able to, I didn't catch the set, but just remember seeing the pyro from the distance. And instead, me and my friends went to go see something in Sahara. And it was so funny because Sahara was just empty because all those people were, of course, at Swedish House Mafia. But I'm excited for this, like the big production, just because I haven't been going to shows. I know some of our guests have been able to go to a lot of shows, but I think the spectacle of it and the nostalgia of it is just going to be so fun. And that's just my vibe for Coachella. I just want to have a great time and have fun. And I think this is really going to check off that box for me of all the headliners, quote unquote headliners. I guess they're a headliner, right? So
we don't know. They're like randomly floating on the polo fields. They're just going to appear wherever. Like it's going to be like, where's Waldo? But where's Swedish House Mafia all weekend? That's my latest prediction.
So this is another thing we're going to talk about, their predicted set times. So our friend Michael Milano, shout out to Michael. Thank you so much for doing your set time predictions. But I think this one's pretty much confirmed. I think there's some Instagram postings that allude to this very heavily, that they're going to be playing on Friday on the Coachella stage after Harry Styles at 11:45 p.m.
But why are they on the bottom of the poster? I have questions, Tom. I have questions.
I was hoping that they were going to play every single night at 11:45. That was my hope. I'm really excited to see them. I saw them, same year that you were there, Tom, 2012, and it was a phenomenal show, at least from the visual standpoint, and just kind of letting loose and not really caring about what's going on in the world at that point and just enjoying some music.
Well, they could definitely do some surprise sets, right, at the Heineken Dome or the...
What if they show up at the Doolab? Would they be a Doolab?
Doolab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Doolab. And I've actually never caught any of those surprise sets. But yeah, something like that would really make a lot of sense. So we'll see. Hey, Brian, what's your number 5?
Yeah, so I don't want anybody to get this confused with the CEO of Goldman Sachs, but Solumun, that would be my number 5. Very kind of same sort of vibe that you're talking about, kind of carefree, let loose. He's very bohemian DJ, does a ton of mega sets, like 2, 3, 4 hour sets, and just kind of really good, fun flowing house music. I think that he's a fantastic, just kind of, if you're in the mood to go into Yuma, see a good DJ set, just kind of light house, nothing kind of crazy drum and bass style. He's a fantastic artist to go see. He was once featured in Grand Theft Auto. They actually had an hour-and-a-half DJ set on one of the latest releases of GTA that he performed on. So I'm really pumped and really excited. I haven't personally got a chance to see him yet. I have tons of friends that have been down to Tulum, Mexico City, that have seen some of his sets, and they just rave nonstop about the flow, the vibe that he puts on, just kind of free flowy, very bohemian, sort of chill-esque sort of house music, if there's such a thing.
I've definitely heard the buzz on him. Looks like he'll be playing on Sunday at 9:15 in Yuma.
I'm always here for Yuma.
Vanessa, what about you? What do you got for number 5?
My number 5 also has a video game connection. Not the same video game, though. Viagra Boys. They are a Swedish post-punk band, and I just rediscovered them because I love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and I just got the remastered version, and they've got like one of their songs in there, and I'm like, man, I forgot about them. They came out of Sweden, I would say like 2015 or so. They put out a record last year, but it's post-punk kind of, and it kind of reminds me, like there's a saxophone in it, so it's like a little bit, reminds me, sometimes it kind of is sludgy, like Morphine a little bit, even though like Morphine's not really post-punk, but it's like, it's kind of like somewhere between the Hives and Morphine is how I would describe them. And I love Swedish post-punk bands and Swedish punk bands, so I feel like this one's going to be good. It's in Sonora, which I am like, that's what they're predicting, Sonora at 5:35 p.m. on Sunday. And I'm going to be tired, and I'm going to need a break from the sunshine, and I'm going to need air conditioning at that point. So I feel like this is going to be like the perfect thing. Like when I hit that like lull after being there so long, that I'm going to get my second win at this set.
I was able to check this band out per your recommendation. So is this right that they've only been around since 2015? So you've been playing some Tony Hawk Pro Skater in the more recent versions. This is not like the old school version. Yeah,
it's in the new one. They had a song, Slow Learner, I think, is the one in the
Respect.
New one. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You stuck with it.
I stuck with it. I played it back in the day, and then I'm playing it now in the new remastered version. I'm sorry, like, you want to just like give me all my favorite video games from when I was a teenager? Yes, I'm gonna play them again. Make me more of these. Like I'm into it. I feel like they could have a Tony Hawk stage.
I will say that the video games, like there are some classic soundtracks with video games. You look at Tony Hawk,
yep.
FIFA has some amazing soundtracks when you look through the FIFA archives. Grand Theft Auto as well. I mean, it's just it's really impressive. It's a nice cross section of entertainment, music, etc.
Seems like the video game industry is just like bigger than the music industry at this point. The music industry is like a subset of the video game industry.
Well, remember, like before, like in the middle of the pandemic, we started to see more and more people do stuff with Fortnite. Like I think Silk Sonic just did something with them. Like I know Travis Scott like had his own mini Astro World 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In there. So I mean, yeah, I feel like the next level of festivals, I think, is actually just going to be like in games.
Especially for Travis Scott.
Oh, well, Kanye said he's going to bring him out, remember?
I did enjoy Viagra Boys. I thought some of their lyrics were like really interesting, reminded me of country music, like the storytelling and the very specific details.
They're very provocative. Like they're kind of like they're very sarcastic, and like there's a lot of commentary on like social class. And I think that was kind of like the change in the second record, or I guess it's, the second record, the one that came out last year, was like some of it was like more pointing at themselves, because like I guess the singer, I haven't seen them live, and I really want to see him live, and like I guess the singer like wears sunglasses and like pours beer on himself, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be partially performance art too, but it should be interesting. I don't know, I feel like the punk kids who play the Tony Hawk, we're all gonna be there in the Sonora tent taking a break from the heat, because we're all old now. That's what we're going to do on Sunday.
Well, we all picked European artists for number 5. That's kind of fun. But I'll go ahead and stick with the trend, because my number 4 artist is also European. It's L'Imperatrice. So this is a band that I've been into for a long time. I actually had tickets to see their, Vanessa, what is it called? The Coachella?
The Coachella, yeah. Golden Voice presents April.
Yes. So I was going to see them in 2020 for Golden Voice Presents April. So they've been someone I'm really into. And the way I want to just imagine going to see them is like going to see Daft Punk Random Access Memories played live, because it has a lot of that same vibe where they're speaking French and they have funky guitars and bass. And that's just my sweet spot. Wikipedia describes them as new disco, and just like, you had me at new disco. That's all I need to hear from them. It's just very joyful and fun French funk music. And it has this kind of edge of sophistication, because most of their songs are in French. Their new album, they have some English lyrics, and I don't need that at all. I'm happy with them just sticking to French. I don't need to really know what they're saying. I just want to feel the vibe of really classy, chill, joyful, French, sophisticated funk. And I think the vibe for them, the crowd that they'll attract, is going to be really, really chill. They're actually predicted to play on Saturday opposite of Billie Eilish, right? So this has the potential to be one of those late night tent sets in Gobi.
Oh, it's not predicted an early set. I think I misread it. I thought it was going to be like the early dance party set.
No, yeah, I said, oh, so yeah, I put 12:10 p.m. I should have said 12:10 a.m. That makes sense. So
I was like, that's going to get me grooving. Okay, well now I got to pick between them and Billie. Oh.
Yeah, totally different vibe. I mean, I think Billie Eilish is really interesting. I would love to see her, but I just get such like a sad emo vibe from her, where this is just the exact opposite. This is just joyful, beautiful celebration of all that is positive in life. Again, I have no idea what she's saying in most of the songs, but just the way it hits you with the funky bass lines. Just give me a funky bass line and I'm there. So I've been excited to see them for a long time. Obviously, the concert that I had tickets to in 2020 was straight up canceled, so I'm there for it.
Can we make you a t-shirt that says, just give me a funky bass line? Like that should be your Coachella fit for the day.
Or you had me at New Disco.
Yes.
Something like that. Yep, that's me. Brian, what you got for number 4?
Well, Tom, I'm actually sticking with the European vibes. Number 4 for me is Slow Tie. He's artist that I found when he was originally on the 2020 set. So, kind of going through that discovery and found Slow Tie, just absolutely fell in love with his music. It's very UK grime-esque. So he has some songs with Skepta, does some stuff kind of in the similar sense of Mike Skinner. You might remember him from the streets. So just kind of this UK grime rap that I'm a big fan of. So really excited about it. The last time that I got a chance to kind of check him out live was when he performed in Glastonbury back in 2019. He came out and just was a ball of energy. He's got a lot of different collabs. He did some collabs with Gorillaz, Denzel Curry as well, I think, on the Coachella lineup. So, he might have some crossover with Disclosure as well. He's got a song out that's a little bit inappropriate to talk about from a drug standpoint, but he's got a collab with Disclosure in that regard. So I'm really stoked about this, and it's probably the first time that I've seen somebody on the polo field since Stormzy and Skepta year, which I think was 2017, that they brought kind of one of the major UK grime guys over from the UK.
Cool. I was able to check out some Slow Tie, and a lot of like pop sensibilities too, where it's a lot of like just like chanting of like hooks. That, at least I caught some videos of his live set to see what that was look like, and it was very, even though it is grime, it seemed pretty accessible just from like the way he controls the stage and kind of gets everyone involved. A lot of kind of call and response type of stuff that he was doing.
Yep.
Could be fun.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of just a light chill set. Well, not a chill set. There's be a lot of energy, but it'd be a fun one.
You had me at the Streets. I just remembered how much I loved the Streets. Like I just finished watching season 2 of Ted Lasso a few weeks ago, and like there's a Streets reference in there, and I'm like, man, I miss the Streets. So I'm like, I really liked grime and I got away from it. So I feel like this one's going to need to go on my list now. I'm into it.
Yeah, and Mike Skinner during the pandemic, he was actually releasing some music. He did a song with Kevin from Tame Impala, actually.
He should bring Mike Skinner to come be a special guest. That should happen, and it will be amazing.
That would be awesome. I would be 100% there for that.
So I'm going to break away from Europe for my number 4 pick, guys. I'm going to Asia. In fact, specifically Mongolia. For The Who. Not to be confused with Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend The Who, but this is like The Who HU. They are Mongolian, like, metal folk rock, if you have not heard them. Okay, I love seeing, like, bands, and, like, when else am I ever going to see this band that plays, like, metal and Mongolian folk music ever in my life? This is why I love Coachella, because I'm like, where else can I get this? For me, like, they have, like, there's throat singing. They play, like, weird acoustic folk instruments. Like, I think one's called a horse head bass. And I don't know if it's actually made out of a horse's head. I should look into that. But I am, like, I feel like it could soundtrack, like, Sons of Anarchy. Like, if you've been listening to it. And I have no idea how it's going to translate live at Coachella. I know that, like, in all of their videos, they're wearing, like, kind of like all heavy leather, like folk gear. And we know that the desert's like super duper hot. So, I mean, I want to go for the spectacle of this. They're going to be playing, the prediction is Gobi at like 7 p.m. on Friday. I feel like that could be like, that's going to be my time. I'm off of deadline, my first wave of deadlines, to go and see this and like be totally blown away. I hope to be totally blown away, but it just looks really weird and really interesting. And I'm like, when else am I ever going to see a Mongolian folk metal band in my life? Only at Coachella.
The throat singing is a trip. The way the vocal sounds on this are just so intense and crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of Coachella, right? Being able to get these cool acts that you would never really go out and pursue yourself just from a music standpoint, and kind of learn about how other cultures interpret music and how they're bringing their music to kind of the world stage. I'm interested in this set as well. I think it'd be really cool. I'm like really interested to see what sort of visuals they bring to it as well. I think that'd be quite interesting to kind of see it all put together.
Okay, good. So it's going to be you and me, and then we got to see who else comes to the set. Like, I'm really into the people watching at this set. I feel like it's going to be fascinating.
I would agree. That was another kind of thing that I wanted to check out. Who's coming to see the Who?
All right. So moving along, we're at my number 3. Sticking with international, so far we're 100% international. This is a band that we talked about last episode with Niaz. It's Disclosure. One of the best sets I've ever seen at Coachella. Just so many great memories of seeing them on the main stage. They brought out the star power on that one. They brought out Sam Smith and Lord. I don't need that this time. They've just won me over, and I just love their songs. I love that they've incorporated a lot of world music, and also they keep collaborating with this African-American pastor who just like shouts motivational things, and I really want him there. I really want him to deliver a motivational speech to everyone at Coachella. It's Eric Thomas. So let's do it. Let's bring out Disclosure. They're just like kings of house music at this point. They've got so much credibility. They've been around for such a long time. It's just going to be so much fun to see them.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Disclosure. I was at the set that they did their previous go around at Coachella, and it was fantastic. You're right. They brought out the star power. It will be interesting this time to see, because there are some artists that they've collaborated with that are on the bill. So it'd be interesting if they have anybody that comes out from, previous collaborations that are on the bill. But, I think them being, if it's what the prediction is in the Sahara, I think that's a great venue for them from a visual standpoint. So they'll be able really to take advantage of all the visual elements of the Sahara tent to kind of really step up the experience of their show.
So here's what I'm worried about, though. I feel like they're so big, or they were so big before. Are they still going to be so big that it's going to be impossible to get to Sahara to see them? Like, are we going to need to start trekking out there like a half an hour in advance? Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, probably. You just get there early. That's kind of how it was for Diplo when I wanted to go see Diplo last, 2019. And you just kind of wait. Some people kind of leave, midway, and you work your way into the tent. But yeah, you got to get early if there's something you're really excited about. I think it's just a general theme for Coachella.
So wait, you're going to have to leave Disclosure early to go see Late Imperatrice.
Yeah, we'll see if these conflicts actually turn out. It's all hypothetical at this point.
Yeah.
So Brian, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is, I think I'm saying this correct, Anitta. She's a Brazilian artist out of Rio. She's really kind of become super, super popular. Has some collaborations with Cardi B recently, as well as Sweetie. But it's kind of funny. Never on my radar until about a year ago. We were out skiing in Aspen. We ran into a group of people that had like big bodyguards, and we're trying to figure out who were these people with giant bodyguards in Aspen. Turns out it wasn't Anitta, it was Maluma. But at the same time, Anitta was actually releasing her video for Loco, which is her kind of skiing in what you would typically be wearing on a beach, but on the mountains in her video. So we thought that was kind of interesting. Started listening to some of her music. She's fantastic. She's got great pop hooks, kind of very pop-esque. And she does kind of half and half with her songs in English, half in Spanish. And she just watching some of her videos of her performances just puts on a super energetic show. And I think it's going to be kind of a announcement to the US scene that, hey, I'm on this upward trajectory towards headliner sort of billing because of, what I'm able to bring to the table from a Latin perspective, and also what I'm able to bring from a performance perspective. So I'm really interested to see kind of what that performance looks like, how it's perceived, and then just it's going to be a dance party. So I'm excited to be out there and cutting it loose.
I think you're absolutely right. Like, I think this is the year to see her. And then you can say you saw her when, right? Like Bad Bunny a few years ago, and like Bad Bunny, like now it's impossible to get tickets. So like see him, I forget how many nights he sold out at SoFi in LA, in Inglewood. But like, I feel like this is that same kind of thing. I think you are totally right. See her now because that star is rising.
Heck yeah, like I'm right there with you. I was so lucky to have caught Bad Bunny and J Balvin in 2019. They weren't on my radar at all. Like I knew the names, but didn't know any of the songs. And luckily my friend who camped with me works down in Latin America all the time and was like super into it. And those were like the two things he's like, we have to just see these two. And of course now they're like two of the biggest artists in the world. She's way up there in terms of her Spotify numbers. Just looking at this like real quick, she's like comparable to Guns N' Roses, Britney Spears, ahead of Kid Cudi, ahead of Tupac, ahead of Lorde. Like she's one of the top 200 artists in Spotify for someone who's like not known at all in the United States, really.
Yeah, this is going to be her big coming out moment. And I think that this is going to be the big party. And I think that I'm going to go ahead on a limb and say this is going to be one of the most talked about sets on the weekend, not only for those of us who are going, but also on YouTube. I bet she's on a YouTube live stream, and I bet everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, and for what they're predicting, if it is main stage at 5, that's a perfect slot just because, that's when mass crowd is queuing up to come into the festival and kind of be there as the crowd. So I think it'll be a great set that she'll put on. She's got tons of material, which is amazing for not being as well known in the US. So I think it'll be a great show.
And there's something about reggaeton at Coachella also. It's just the perfect vibe, the sexiness of it, the way the music sounds, just going with the Coachella experience. I guess J Balvin was actually the first reggaeton artist they had ever had at Coachella, which I think they've had a lot of artists who are like reggaeton adjacent, like thinking of Bomba Estéreo, who's technically psychedelic cumbia, but there's going to be a lot more of this. I'm glad to see it coming back. Let's do it. I'm there for it. And another artist to watch out for is Karol G, who is from Colombia, same as J Balvin. She's also on the lineup, so could be, if you're into Anitta, you'll definitely want to check out Karol G as well. And now we are on Vanessa for your number 3. Is it another European artist, Vanessa, or international artist?
It is. Well, she's European. She is, yes, we're international, but also by way of Nashville. So, and then we're going to take a complete left turn here. I say everybody needs to go see Yola. So she's from England. She's been in Nashville for the last couple years. She is amazing. I saw her at the Ohana Festival, which is Pearl Jam's festival, and I think she was better than Pearl Jam. Like, I was absolutely blown away. So she's kind of alt country, kind of like Sharon Jones. Like, she's got like alt country, like Brandy Carlisle's on this record with her. She's kind of like Sharon Jones. She's got this incredible soulful voice. And like, there are times when I was like, man, she almost sounds like Aretha. And then there are times she sounds like Dolly Parton. And she is incredible. Like, the songs are so good. Her record, Stand For Myself, was one of my favorite albums of 2021. I love her. I think she's amazing. I think that like I can't really even categorize. Like, you can't really pigeonhole her. She was just so good live. I can't wait to see her again. Like, I've been jonesing for it. In fact, she's playing Stagecoach. I think she's going to be one of those artists I go and see all 3 weekends. Like, that's how much I love her because she just absolutely blew me away. And she's like, right now she's projected for the outdoor theater at like 2:30 in the afternoon. And I'm like, that's going to be good. Hopefully I won't be dying of heat stroke. And I can't wait. I absolutely cannot wait.
Cool. I'm into it. So she's lives in Nashville now, but still we've kept with all international artists since she's from England. That's crazy. I never would have thought that. Off the top of your head, can you recommend some of her songs? Because here's my only thing with her is I put one of her songs on one of my Coachella playlists and it just kept popping up and I got really sick of it. So I need some new stuff of hers to check out. Is there anything off the top of your head?
The whole new record is great. I really like Be My Friend. That's the one that she does, like Brandy Carlisle guests on it on the record.
Okay.
Barely Alive's really good. This title track, Stand For Myself. Like, I mean, I really love it. Don't put it on your Coachella list. Just go and listen to that record. Just go listen to that record, Tom. It's gonna make you happy. And then you're gonna be like, Vanessa, thanks for telling me to just put on that record. And there you go.
All right. So we're at my number 2 artist, and it is also an international artist. This one is like quintessentially international, and that's what I love about them. They're Altin Gun from Turkey, and this music has totally caught the ear of my entire family, which is so cool. Like, it's fun when you can play Turkish psychedelic funk rock music and have your little 3-year-old son just absolutely love it, because that's how just beautiful this music is. It's so interesting and expressive and fun. Again, I have no idea what they're talking about. They use some really interesting stringed instruments that I don't know what it's called. I'm trying to figure it out on Wikipedia right now. It might be called the Saz. I see something called the Saz, S-A-Z. They bring the total international spice that you're looking for to mix things up. They're The Who. Instead of a heavy metal Mongolian band using throat singing, it's a band that has really interesting Turkish funk rhythms, wah-wah guitars, really bright, shiny synths. They have a female singer that really can belt it. It's something that I've just discovered on, since it was announced in January, and it's instantly become my second most played band on Spotify. I like to use the Spotify stats app to check, what I've been listening to. And it's so addictive. They're predicted to play on Sunday at Sonora at 2:40, and I hope that works out. I would love to see them in Sonora in the air conditioning. This would be like my greatest Sonora set of all time. It's Altin Gun.
I'm really excited because I feel like I started getting into them too after we talked about them here on the podcast. Like, that's going to be fun. And yes, again, air conditioning in the heat of the day.
Yeah, and Tom, when you mentioned this on one of the recent podcasts, I had my daughter listen to them. She's 6. She loves them too. So they just have kind of a infectious groove to them that everybody kind of catches all the earwaves for every age group.
I love it. I love it.
So wait, maybe we need to replace the Aquabats with Altin Gun. Like, maybe they are missing an entire like demographic with the under 7 set.
I mean, they can make a lot of money over here. People are getting sick of listening to the Kids Bop.
Right? Forget, if Baby Shark could do this, is way better than Baby Shark, right? Altin Gun, way better than Baby Shark. Everybody give Altin Gun your money.
Gotta get Ping Pong out.
Yeah. No offense, Ping Pong. We're all tired of Baby Shark.
It really is. It's meaty. It's gritty. It's fun. It's the best. Brian, what you got for number 2?
So I'm going to break the international streak here. Going with Doja Cat. She's the big mover from 2020. I was actually super stoked when I saw her on the lineup. I love Ministry of Sound. It's a record label it's like a subsidiary of Sony that's based out of the UK. They do a ton of dance music. I think Duck Sauce is on their label, etc. But they actually are the exclusive right holders for Doja Cat to produce and distribute her music in the UK. And they really kind of put her out prior to her kind of blowing up on TikTok and everything like that. So really just love her music, love her vibe, kind of just infectious pop, but still has some good hip hop that comes through, some good rap elements to it from a lyricist standpoint. So I'm just excited to see what kind of show she brings to the polo fields. I mean, going from 4th line to sub is a pretty crazy jump, especially when she's never performed at Coachella. So I'm really, really excited to kind of see what that set looks like, listen to some of her well-known songs like Candy. It's just going to be a fun set. That's kind of the theme of this year, is just what's fun out there for me to dance and consume that way.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what that set's going to be. Just like you said, she jumped from the lower lines to sub headliner. I mean, I think we were even talking about in here, could she have like subbed in as a headliner like her and Megan Thee Stallion? So I think, again, this is going to be another moment that people are watching. I feel like this has potential to be one of the most talked about sets of the whole weekend that wasn't a headliner.
I'll just add, she was featured in this stupid show that I watched called Dave. Brian, do you know that show?
Yeah, he's a
Little Dicky.
Yeah, Little Dicky. He's big in Philadelphia sports because he's a big Philly sports guy, like kind of like Diplo. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Did you see the episode? You saw the episode with her?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was interesting. You felt, I don't know, it was a very entertaining TV show. I love some of the pop jams. Let's do it up. She's definitely like a top 5 pop star playing Coachella this year. If not, I would say top 3, maybe her, Billie Eilish, and Harry Styles. 3 biggest pop stars playing Coachella. Maybe Megan Thee Stallion's in there too. Okay, moving on to Vanessa for your number 2.
I'm so excited. I feel like this is a name I brought up so many times, but like it's really going to happen now. It's really, really, really going to happen. We're going to see Danny Elfman at the Polo Fields. Danny Elfman. If you don't know Oingo Boingo, which is great, Oingo Boingo, great, hugely influential new wave band out of Southern California, Danny Elfman has done so many scores that you love. He is behind the theme song of The Simpsons. I think that it's going to be like Hans Zimmer, where we're going to get like this crazy theatrical stuff. Like, like he did The Nightmare Before Christmas. He did Beetlejuice. Like basically every Tim Burton movie he was involved with. And he already said that like Oingo Boingo is kind of getting back together with it, which I'm pretty sure we manifested on our recent episode where we were talking about with Tim Cromwell, the concert concierge. Then Danny Elfman came out and said Oingo Boingo was happening. This is going to be epic. I can't wait. If it gives me anywhere near the feelings that Hans Zimmer gave me with like how just epic it was, like I can't wait. Like this, it's going to be, and it's going to be at the outdoor theater at night. Like bring your glow sticks because you're not going to be able to see and it's going to be packed. Everyone's going to be there. It's going to be awesome.
I've been getting a lot more into him. I feel like I really get his whole sound now. It's just kind of goofy and fun. I'm into it. I definitely want to try to check this out.
Yeah, I didn't even realize one of my favorite movies with Rodney Dangerfield, where he kind of goes back on campus. Oingo Boingo played in that, and
yes,
like that's one of my favorite. Yes, Back to School. There's a scene where they're having this big party, and that's like one of my. I didn't realize until just recently that was Oingo Boingo. So I'm super stoked. I'm definitely going to check that out because it's one of my favorite songs from 80s movie nostalgia.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. And here's another random 80s Oingo Boingo factoid. If you've ever seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the song that they play at the end where they're like saying what happened to everybody, the goodbye, 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 that's also Oingo Boingo. So it's going to be pretty big. Also, another random fun fact that I just thought of just now, Oingo Boingo played the US Festival. And I don't remember if they played in 82 or 83, but that was like a big precursor to what Coachella came to be. And it was out in San Bernardino at Glen Helen Regional Park. And they were one of the bands that played. So it's kind of like a full circle moment maybe for Danny Elfman in that way. And he doesn't play live. He's had a lot of hearing loss. So like it's rare to see him play live. So this is going to be a really, really special set.
All right. Moving into number 1s. You guys ready?
Excited.
I'm so ready.
Okay. My number 1, something that totally snuck up on me. I never would have thought that this was going to be my number 1, but I am absolutely obsessed. And it's going to be something that's going to be a totally unique Coachella experience for me because it's pretty much confirmed that he'll be playing in the Yuma on Friday. And I've never been anywhere near this excited for the Yuma. I've passed through there so many times. Friends have wanted to see things, and it's something that's like, okay, yeah, we'll go hang out there. But this could be just absolutely a unique experience, getting so excited for this DJ. It's Purple Disco Machine out of Germany. So all of my artists that I picked are European or Turkish, so that's fun. He writes the most beautiful pop anthems that are, his original music. He released an album in 2021 in October called Exotica. And it's just the most fun pop, dance, funk, disco thing that I could ever imagine. Every song on this is so catchy, gets stuck in your head. Another thing that my 3-year-old will just demand that we listen to over and over again. And of course my wife gets into it. And when I can share that with my family, but it's just so danceable, so catchy. He's getting so much buzz right now. I'm a little worried that it's gonna, be a little bit too crowded in the Yuma. We'll have to get there really soon. But I'm just so excited to have that euphoric experience in the Yuma. He just plays too what the Yuma, the whole disco shark. What's just quintessentially that disco fun guy.
Yes, he is.
His name is Purple
Shark
Disco Machine, right?
Artist, right? Like if Disco Shark was a musician, Disco Shark would be Purple Disco Machine.
There you go. I love it. And so he'll be playing, probably on 10 p.m. on Friday in the Yuma. And I will be there weekend too.
Yeah, I wasn't super aware of a lot of his music. It was actually today I was taking a Peloton ride, and one of his remixes came up on it. He does a wonderful remix of Treat You Better from Roots to Soul.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, wow, this guy's put some nice production on this.
Yeah, he's done like some really high profile official remixes. I think he did the official remix for Rain on Me and for one of Dua Lipa songs, like two of the biggest songs in 2020. So he's got this reputation of being like the go-to guy for these official big pop remixes, but his original music is just gorgeous. And I feel like he really has something to say too. It's just cheesy, fun pop, but the lyrics like are not that bad. Like they're really kind of just, he's telling a story. He really is. He's a great artist. I wonder if if there's any potential of him bringing out some of the guest vocalists that he's featured on his album. It would really put this thing over the top for me.
If he were in Sahara, absolutely. Yuma, I feel like maybe.
Yeah.
Less likely.
I hope it's on the Sahara, but for some reason they're seeing that there's a lot of the similar artists to him, I think, have been confirmed on the Yuma. So it's probably in the Yuma, which is cool. I'm down to get really excited for a Yuma set. That'd be a totally unique thing for me. Going to Brian, your number one.
Yeah, so my number one could be like either the best set or the most biggest disaster ever of Coachella.
Wait a minute. Drake played. I'm just going to remind everyone that Drake played. So there's a very high bar to be that kind of disaster.
With this artist, with Ye being the headliner on Sunday, he might go into a 45-minute rant about how much he doesn't like Pete Davidson and he misses Kim. And there's a whole sort of challenges that it could go off the rails completely. Or he could just be to the point where he's like, you know what? I'm going to put on an amazing show because I've been kind of tossed around as somebody that's losing it, that's not in touch. And let me put something together that's going to be memorable and let me innovate. So, I'm hoping, and I think a lot of people are, that he'll come and put a set together kind of like what he did for the Free Larry Hoover program that was in December in Los Angeles. I don't think that it'll be similar to that in the regard that he'll put a sit list that's very similar. But I do think he recognizes that he needs to bring something to the table that's going to resonate with the crowd. So, I know with Danya 2 being released, he might go down that pathway.
But will anyone know the music?
Exactly.
How many people will know it from the $200 player?
Yeah, I think he might recognize that. And I think he might keep it a smaller, selection of songs from that album and really reach into his catalog and pull out some stuff and kind of get innovative with it. So I think he's the biggest unknown out of all this, is just him as an artist and as a person. So I'm really hoping that he's able to, execute his vision the way that he sees it. And it's a vision that the crowd's receptive to and excited for.
I bet he hits curfew and they pull the plug. That is my only prediction for that set, is that he's going to go on so late. They're going to pull the plug on him like they did on The Cure.
I'm excited to go weekend 2 to see him, right? Because hopefully he has a lot of the bugs worked out. And I think it's probably going to be very different weekend 1 from weekend 2. I don't see him being able to do the same show the same way, right? It's going to be probably really awkward and clunky the first weekend. And then the second weekend, hopefully he'll have it figured out.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on point with weekend 2. The thing that I'm really interested in is he's got such a group, just a competitive ego about himself. And, there's all this talk about recent performances with Beyonce, with other artists that have kind of pushed the bar. He's going to want to just top everything. So that's why I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm excited just to kind of see what the unknown has in store for us.
Well, are you worried at all that he's just going to do the like House on Fire thing that he's been doing? Like, I'm kind of worried that he's been doing so much production on that. Like, are we going to get something special for Coachella other than Sunday service? Which I don't know if that's still happening or not at this point.
Yeah, it's a good question. And, I have kind of a hedge that he won't go down that pathway since he's been rolling it out so frequently that he's just going to be like, I got to do, because at one point he was actually booking space in the desert, like in an air hangar. I recall reading on TMZ, which is my official source for Kanye news.
Fair.
He was renting some space and like he was supposed to lock himself down for like months and work on this, but he's been in Miami partying, he's hanging out with everybody, so to speak. So it's going to be so unpredictable. I think Tom's right that weekend 2 is probably the best weekend to see him because if he has a crappy weekend 1, at least he can redeem himself weekend 2.
Or does he like get mad that everyone doesn't love his weekend 1 set and like pouts and then suddenly he's not playing weekend 2?
Yeah, he gets mad that they cut off his mic on weekend 1. That's what I thought when you said that.
I could also see that happening. I mean, it's definitely going to be the set to watch in the weekend, like, because again, you don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know. I like to think that because Kanye is very talented, and I hope that I hope it will be better than Drake. That's my.
You and me both.
Yeah. So my number 1, I'm actually picking a headliner too. And if you had told me that this was who I was going to pick, like my most anticipated act, like I would have been like, really? But I am so pumped for Harry Styles. I am so excited because 1, I think Harry Styles is a Renaissance man. I think he is our modern day George Michael. I think he's already done amazing things. And I think he's going to like do so many amazing things. He clearly like loves David Bowie, has a Fleetwood Mac like influence. I'm like excited for that. Also, I'm excited because everyone going to see him here did not buy tickets for a Harry Styles show, right? So not to knock, like Harry's fans are fantastic. They are such a loyal fan base. But I think the experience of seeing him at Coachella is going to be unlike seeing him anywhere else because the festival is pretty much already sold out by the time he was announced as one of the headliners. So I am pumped. I'm ready to see Harry Styles. I'm ready to sing Watermelon Sugar with everybody. And I can't wait for the fashion. There's going to be so much fashion. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think it would be a great show. You're absolutely right. He has a strong history of putting on phenomenal experiences for his fans, for people that go to his shows. So I think you can't go wrong with going to see Harry Styles.
I wanted to play the song that goes, "She don't know she's beautiful. That's what makes her beautiful."
I mean, we could have a 1D reunion. Wouldn't that be epic? Like, come on, Harry reunites One Direction at Coachella. Think about it. That would be huge, huge, huge.
I love Watermelon Sugar. I love it. I checked out the album. I'm into it. Let's do it. I'll definitely try to catch it. Probably going to be some pretty hardcore conflicts on Friday night, but I love that you're so excited about this, Vanessa.
It's something different for me. But like I said, I would never, if I was covering a Harry Styles show, I would go, but it's like, that's not something I would buy tickets to on my own. So this is the chance to see Harry Styles. And I feel like there's like a lot of really good, just fun pop I want to see. Like we were all talking about, like the theme is fun. Like Carly Rae Jepsen, she's going to be so much fun. Harry Styles, so much fun. Like it is the year of fun, but not the band fun because they are not on the bill.
Which I was hoping that we were going to get a format reunion.
Yeah, you remember we talked about that once?
Yes.
Did you hear that episode?
Why didn't? Yeah, Nate Russ, get that together. Make it happen.
I love that band. Sometime, yeah, they were going to reunite in 2020 and then they canceled it all.
Yeah, I think they're still doing shows in Phoenix, New York, and Chicago. I gotta look to see when those are. I think they're like maybe early April if I remember when they rescheduled them. They might have rescheduled them since, but I might try to figure out a way to get to one of those shows.
All right, well that wraps it up. Everyone should check us out on our website, www.can'tfeeltheheat.com. Please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review on iTunes. Those really help. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Can't Feel the Heat. Thank you so much, Brian, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And look forward to seeing everybody in a few weeks out at the polo fields.
Let's do it.
For all the fun. For all of the fun.
You have just listened to Can't Feel the Heat, the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival unofficial podcast. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on all of your favorite platforms. Follow us on Instagram at Can't Feel the Heat and check out our website at www.can'tfeeltheheat.com.